Hello, I'm Avery or Hazel or Kylie. You can just pick one, I don't care.
Hello, I am Lily.
And welcome to the From the Closet podcast. Today, we are covering Tangled Before Ever After and Ever After.
I wonder which one came first.
Ever After.
Shit.
Yeah, that one actually released first, which kind of makes sense because the other one is called Before Ever After, meaning that it takes place before another thing that we already know about called Ever After.
Imagine if they released at the same time.
That would be funny. But also, something interesting is that, like, uh, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, this podcast will contain spoilers for Tangled Before Ever After and Ever After.
And
So yeah, there will.
this tomorrow we will have Amphibia Season 1. Next week, our free movie of the month, and Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yeah. So anyway, in the link below, you will find a link to. In the link below, yes. In the description below, you will find a link to Just Watch, which will have all the places where you will be able to rent, purchase, or stream Tangled Before Ever After, which, for all I know, could just be Disney Plus.
In the link below, you can find
and
the description.
yeah. Also, in the description below, you can find a link to our Patreon where you can vote on future episodes of this show early, as well as access episodes of the. Wait, what? I screwed up so many words there. You can vote on future episodes of this show and access episodes of this show early, and get access to episodes of our sister show, Off the Shelf, which is about books. That's an extremely infrequent podcast, and I still haven't fucking posted the first episode. But it is on Patreon, so.
Doesn't matter how frequent
whatever.
it is, it's still on Patreon.
Yeah, the first episode is anyway. I gotta get that second episode done. And also in the description, you can find a link to anchor.fm, which has links to every platform that this podcast is on, as well as links to our Instagram and Twitter, where you can be notified whenever we release new episodes. Now, with all of that being said, I am going to spin the wheel that'll determine what our next wheel movie is. And it's the SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
I almost forgot I put that on there. Almost. Oh, for disclaimer, we're not going to cover the other SpongeBob SquarePants movies, right?
We might eventually, but I'm not going to just replace the SpongeBob SquarePants movie on the wheel with the next one.
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, I heard...
Yeah,
first one, good. Second one, mid to bad. Third one, extremely bad.
That's not what I've heard. I've heard first one good, second one mid to bad, third one kinda okay.
Oh, really? Because I heard nothing good about that movie, ever.
Well, see, Steven Hillenburg was back for that one.
I thought Steven Hillenburg was back for the second one.
I maybe I'm getting them mixed up, but whatever. Who cares? Also, rest in peace. But anyway, let's dig into this. So, why don't we talk about Ever After first? Because we'll get into Before Ever After in a bit here.
Okay.
Ever After is kind of average. It has the same animation as the original Tangled movie. And it basically amounts to a short. You would expect to see this kind of thing out of Pixar, but here we are with
Disney.
Not Pixar. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really surprised at the plot. And, I mean, that's one of the first things I said. I thought, wow, this almost feels like a Pixar short.
Yeah. The fun thing about it is, though, and it's something I'm curious about because I never finished the TV show, Rapunzel's hair is short in that. And we know that this takes place after the TV show because Rapunzel and Eugene are married in this short. Or they're getting married, whatever.
Hmm.
Rapunzel's hair short, and it gets longer in the before ever after movie thing. Um, I never finished the show, so it could very well get cut at the end of the show, but even if it doesn't, I really don't think that's a plot hole. It's just a loose end that they never tied up, if that's the case.
I mean, there's two situations. I mean, I think I can understand what the original problem is. They made the first one without any intention of making the second.
Well, see, here's my stance on it. With the way that the TV show was going when I stopped watching, I do kind of fully expect her to have lost her like power and her long blonde hair by the end of
Well,
it.
that makes sense. I also think that's the reason why it just straight out wasn't long.
Yeah.
Though I
But
did notice how, like, the thing that comes out of, like, the hat that brides wear was extremely long.
are you talking about the
I
veil?
think I am, yeah.
Like
So,
the
when,
slightly translucent thing that
yeah.
yeah.
When I was trying to remember, I couldn't remember if her hair was long or short, because in that scene, I can only remember that long veil.
Yeah, her hair was definitely short and it was brown and everything.
Okay.
As Eugene put it, she got the most dramatic haircut in history.
Well, yeah, and now she's got the most dramatic hair revivals in history.
Oh yeah. So let's talk about Before Ever After. So I first watched Before Ever After a few years ago. Um, and I really only did so out of a bit of like morbid curiosity. Obviously, Tangled is my favorite Disney movie. Like, if you go back and watch our Tangled episode, it is literally the only time I've ever rated a movie a 10.0.
Yeah.
Like, I do, I love that movie that much. And so I went to this out of a sense of morbid curiosity because Disney's known for doing shitty cash grabs. I mean, come on, we've got all these live action remakes and almost all of them suck. And then there was all those direct to video sequels of some of their older movies. So I was expecting complete garbage
Lady and
out
the
of
Tramp
this.
did not deserve what happened to it.
I mean, Lady and the Tramp wasn't really that particularly great to begin with. A
So
lot of
then,
racist
why did they make it live action?
because a lot of racist stereotypes in that movie, though.
I still don't know why that movie in particular live actionize it. You could have.
They're live actionizing everything.
Why movies about dogs? What's next? 101 Dalmatians?
They kind of already did Cruella, which is close enough.
Oh, fair enough, yeah.
But anyway, I was expecting complete garbage, and instead, what I got was a perfectly adequate sequel that like logically explores what would be next for Eugene and Rapunzel. That gives us insight into how the king and the queen were affected by Rapunzel's kidnapping, and how their I guess sorrows and stuff would have affected the entire kingdom, not just in terms of like sadness, because like we and like wishing for her to return, because like we see enough of that in Tangled, but also how policies would change. And the villain of this movie is only a villain because of the circumstances of those policy changes. Because as a result of Rapunzel's kidnapping, the king cracked down on all crime and probably cracked down way too hard because this girl's father was taken away for petty theft and she never saw him again.
Well, something
It
about that I have noticed actually. It was theft. And what did happen
petty
that day? Rapunzel was stolen.
Yeah, but like this is petty theft. Like we don't really know the full circumstances. He could have been stealing so that he and his daughter could survive, but she never gets to see him again. Understandably, she'd be upset that the king gets to have his daughter back, but she still can't see her dad.
That is very tragic of the movie. Though it is something worth noting that they were never particularly good people to begin with.
Maybe. Now, on the other hand, there are a couple of side villains that are part of her little group. I don't care about them at all. I didn't find them nearly as compelling as the side villains in Tangled, the ones that Flynn was working with at the beginning of the movie and then like turn on him.
And
And also, like Lady Clane isn't as intimidating as Mother Gothel.
definitely not. The only real
Yeah,
villain I liked was the right hand man, and I only liked him because of his design and voice.
that's fair enough, I guess. But yeah, I really love these aspects of it. I also really love Cassandra, and she's also a really interesting character. Or I guess it's Cassandra, me southernizing it, I guess, or Americanizing. I don't know.
There's a lot of characters that we don't get to see fully develop because they obviously know they're going to develop it in the TV show.
Yeah, and like I love how this movie feels. Like in my opinion, this movie does feel satisfying on its own, but also is like good enough as a pilot for the TV show. And trust me, you don't want to jump into the TV show without watching this movie first because you will be totally lost.
Yeah, there there's a lot of parallels to what we've already covered to Stitch the movie, especially how they're both
There
backdoor pilots.
Yes, but I think one of the key differences between this and Stitch the movie is that this movie stays true to its characters. Um, and like keeps more of their personality intact throughout the movie than Stitch the movie did.
I think another key difference is that Stitch the movie kept true with its animation style.
Yeah. Now, in terms of the art style, this is one thing where it's like you can love it or hate it. Really, I personally I like it. It took me a while to get used to it, and actually, when I watched Before Ever After initially, I wasn't really that big of a fan of it. But then, as I started watching Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, which has the same art style, it eventually grew on me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still really iffy on it, and it just looks weird. Really weird.
Yeah, maybe you'll get used to it over time when we do Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure.
I mean, what really is the draw point for me is it looks like a quality I would see from a TV show, not a movie.
Yeah, the weird thing about that is this was made by Disney Animation Studios for Disney Channel.
Hmm.
That's so weird to me that they made a movie that wasn't a theatrical release. This was released on Disney Channel, And that's another thing too about this. If this was just a shitty cast grab, it would be like a direct to video release or a theatrical release, but instead it aired on TV.
An
Anyone who had cable,
exclusive Disney Channel release.
yeah, like anyone with cable could just watch it.
Anyone with cable
It
can
didn't even
judge
have
it.
to be cable, satellite. Yeah. But I mean, it's one of those things. But um so yeah, obviously Rapunzel's hair grows back because of some black rocks. Um we'll certainly be learning more about those later. But also her hair is just like completely indestructible now.
So, does the hair still have the growth, or not growth, the healing properties?
You will have to see, won't you?
Yes, I will.
But yeah, do you remember in our Tangled episode when I told you there was going to be a lot more to the sun drop thing and like the whole magic of this world? I told you there was going to be a lot more to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't kidding.
I'm just wondering how hair can be so indestructible.
I mean, how can hair heal people and make them younger?
Okay, but even in that, magical scenario, it could still be cut like any other hair. Now, daggers and knives are being brought to it, breaking them both.
Although interestingly, the giant axe didn't break.
I did notice that.
That was kind of interesting.
I mean, it kind of makes sense.
But
It
yeah,
just met something it couldn't break, but didn't completely shatter.
something just to change gears a bit, something that really gets me is the scene. I guess you would say they're like having a feast, and then Eugene kind of puts Rapunzel. What? Eugene kind of puts Rapunzel on the spot and proposes to her, and this is a weird scenario. Okay, so for starters, proposals usually aren't a surprise. Um, Usually the couple will talk about it. Um, there might be some surprise as to when and where it is, but usually it'll be known that like one of the people is going to propose. Like usually that will be known. So the way that Eugene kind of does it here, it was kind of random. She didn't know it was going to happen. It was in front of everyone. Obviously, she wasn't ready for it. And also at the same time, because of the ending of Tangled, where Eugene says that it, like, he asked and asked and asked for years and years and years, we knew she was going to say no.
I didn't like that plot con- consistency. Sorry, I was searching for the right word. The consistency between that.
Yeah. And of course, it's something that will it's something that will somewhat continue throughout the TV show.
I do really like how, and it probably wasn't meant to be this way, but they had Ever After first, so we know at the end of the day they will get married.
Well, I mean, we also had Tangled, which did say that they eventually did get married,
Yeah,
but that it took years.
but you know what I mean. Like, it's just really nice to see their wedding before we get his actual denial proposal.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see their wedding in the original movie, and I'm okay with that because also the fact that they said it took years because Disney's had a history of having their characters get married
The same
only a
day.
couple of days. Yeah. And even here in Tangled Before Ever After, it's been 6 months. It's been 6 months since the events of Tangled.
Yeah. People, Disney, I'm directing this at you, Disney, even though you changed, people do not get married the same day that they meet. Or I feel like
Yeah,
one
they
Disney
do
character
not.
really needs to learn that one as well.
Yeah. Now, on the other hand, 6 months, it is rare, but it does happen.
Hmm.
I have known people who have gotten married after only a few months of having known each other. Does it always work out? No, 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 it does not.
Yeah, maybe you should gotten to know each other. Hell, I don't. I would say a few months, maybe. It's time for dating, not marriage.
For real. But shifting gears again, the songs. There's only three, and I'll be honest, they do kind of blend together, but they're all pretty good.
They're good, okay. Nothing. For me, watching it wasn't really anything to write home about.
Yeah, I definitely think the TV show has much better songs.
Interesting.
Um, especially these names are going to mean nothing to you, but especially songs like "Ready as I'll Ever Be" and "Waiting in the Wings." Those are like probably two of the most popular songs.
Wow, you're
They are
so
so
right.
good.
These names really do mean nothing to me.
Although you probably have my piano cover of "Waiting in the Wings" saved to your computer or something, or is it
It
Blackwall?
was
I can't
Blackwall.
remember. Okay. And that means nothing to anyone watching, unless Blackwall is watching.
Does he continue watching? I can never remember or cared.
I don't think he watches. I don't think he watches consistently. But regardless, I did like the music in this. I do think the music in the show is better. I also think the music in the movie is better.
So, like, music mid? Yeah,
I wouldn't say mid. I wouldn't say mid. I'd say good.
makes sense.
Like, yeah, because I don't know. And also like the theme song of the show is kind of in this movie too. Specifically, the words used in the chorus because they do sing the same melody a couple of times throughout the movie, but the words used in the TV show are the last instance of singing in the actual movie.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Didn't we have this similar thing in Stitch the movie as well?
In Stitch the movie, it was only in the credits.
Oh, it was the credit. That's right.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the music in general. I thought it was pretty good. Not too much to write home
Okay,
about.
we
I
can't talk about the new characters.
Yes, I was literally about to bring up Cassandra again because I fucking love her. She's okay, for starters, I love the kind of rivalry between her and Eugene. I think it's fantastic. I love that she early on, already in Before Ever After, we're getting characterization of her wanting to prove herself worthy of being I guess you could say the princess's bodyguard, kind of.
I feel like, okay, while watching this, just having this brand new character just felt weird, with absolutely no introduction. Thinking about it now, I prefer this way indefinitely. It just works so much better with the story without having this shoehorned in. I'm Cassandra. my backstory is this. It all
Yeah,
works perfectly within the story, and
yeah, and
there's no backstory either. It's all in the
yeah,
dialogue, like they already know what's going on.
yeah. Like all you need to know is that she's the daughter of the captain of the royal guard. That's it. That's all you need.
I remember someone calling this tell not show, which instead of showing a backstory for every single thing, have it with character dialogue where they already know it and just bring the casualest way bring it up.
Yeah. Well, okay. So actually, it's so the thing about showing versus telling, I actually don't think one is particularly better than the other. What makes a
It's
good
a balance of
writer
both.
is knowing, yeah, like it's knowing when to show us something and when to tell us something. Like narration in the middle of a movie is a bad time to start telling us stuff. Narration should never be happening in the middle of a movie.
Yes. I think you should always strive for a balance in things, and especially in media.
Yeah, but like especially too, like you shouldn't be showing us things if if the story you're trying to tell doesn't really have time for it and you can get by with just telling us.
Do you have any examples for that? Because I can't remember.
I'm trying to think of one. Um
I definitely feel like
I'm
I've seen a
sure
rushed movie, even that we covered.
uh yeah, like it's kind of hard to think about one. Just a movie that tried too hard to show us things that didn't matter.
In fact,
Um
I remember even commenting on a movie that this feels rushed, and I cannot remember what.
Yeah,
Iron Man 2?
it's weird.
No,
I mean,
no, not even that.
Iron Man
That
Iron
suffered
Man
from
2 had the problem of yeah, like Iron Man 2 had the problem of shoving so many stories into one movie and they didn't flow well together.
no, yeah, those were completely separate problems.
Yeah. Um I I, I just can't think of anything off the top of my head. But there are definitely times where movies will show us something that we really don't need to be seeing. It just drags on and you don't it, I mean the cinema sins, as much as I hate them, uh they've had a few movies where a sin of the movie is movie has time for this, and sometimes it's a fair criticism.
Yeah,
As much as cinema sins is not a channel I would go to for uh
advice.
thought out, yeah, well, no, not advice, just thought out, well constructed criticisms of movies, because that's not what they're about.
I mean, that's never what they were about.
For real. But yeah, I definitely think this movie is um, better than my expectations for it were.
I don't know what my expectations for this movie. Maybe a bit high, like they're a bit higher because you. I don't know what you said, but you definitely looked up to this movie, like at least when you were talking about it.
Well, I was looking forward to covering it,
Yeah,
and I imagine I did raise your expectations a bit because, like, when I tell you like something's not a shitty cash grab when it looks like that's what it's going to be, you know, it has to raise expectations a little bit. At least I hope.
yeah. Um,
And
it definitely it's definitely above average. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I've seen an average movie and it's called The Last Unicorn. Definitely above that.
You know, I saw someone recently saying that they wanted a live action remake of The Last Unicorn.
I don't think my eyes are ready for that.
I don't think mine are either. I don't think my brain is ready for that.
I don't think I need a
Cause
live
like,
action version of a tree with boobs.
yeah, I don't think I do either. But I guess with that being said, I'm gonna look at the critic ratings.
This has critic raising ratings.
Yes, I was very surprised to find anything. Um, but luckily I did, and they are not in my screenshots folder because I didn't screenshot them. They're in Chrome. Okay, IMDb gives this a 6.5 out of 10. That's quite a bit lower than what I would have given it. Um, Common Sense Media gives it a 4 out of 5, which is, I guess, higher if you ratio that to 10 than what I'm intending to give it. And 81% of Google users liked the movie.
Yeah, but who cares about Google users? Um, I think yeah, that very inspires. The critic ratings always inspire me on what I might rate the movie. And I think around a 7.4 will do it.
See, the funny thing is, like, your rating's actually really close to mine. Um, I give this a 7.5. It is above average. It's a fairly okay sequel. It's pretty good as a backdoor pilot to the TV show. Um, but like when you're going in with low expectations and you see this movie, you're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say about it really. Like I think we pretty adequately covered it. So yeah, you can join us tomorrow for what was it? Amphibia season 1? I think it was
I
Amphibia
cannot
season
wait for
1.
Amphibia.
Yeah. And then you can join us next week for our free movie of the month for December. We don't know what that is yet because it's still November and we haven't even recorded our free movie of the month for this month yet. Um, but yeah. And then you can also join us next week for Avengers Age of Ultron. So yeah, look forward to that. And in a little while, you can look forward to the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. So, with all that being said, I've been Avery, that's been Lily, and we will be seeing you next time on this thing that we're doing.